Flag Day. It's next on Locked on Jazz.
You are Locked on Jazz, your daily podcast on the Utah Jazz. Part of the Locked on Podcast Network. Your team every day.
How are you? I'm David Locke, radio voice of the Utah Jazz, Jazz NBA insider. This is Locked on Jazz, your daily podcast on the Utah Jazz, giving you insight, expertise, geeky numbers, and hopefully making it way better to be a Jazz fan each and every day. Thank you so much for listening to Locked on Jazz, making it your first listen of every single day. To the everydayers out there, you're the best. It is the Locked on Podcast Network, your team every day. On today's show, we'll late game watch OKC Mark Dagnall doing a bunch of really interesting things in that ball game. We look at VJ Edgecomb for the first time, the Baylor pick. We break down Cooper Flagg. But first and foremost, a special thank you to Jordan Wheeler, a special thank you to the crew over at Jazz Basketball on Twitter, because it is Flag Day. AI script written in the voice of Kendrick Lamar, AI produced by Jacob and the crew. Flag Day.
Make the beat go hard like Kendrick's not like us. Yeah, I'm writing from the land where the mountains rise. Salt Lake dreams in the fans' wide eyes. Been grinding through the snow, no disguise. Now we staring at the sky, praying lottery aligns. Monday night, fate's about to speak. Give me that one spot, make this rebuild sleek. Cooper Flagg prodigy, cold technique. White and gold jersey, future looking elite. Flag day, light it up like it's Broadway. Change the course of the franchise, my way or Yahweh. Jazz got soul, now we need that crown. Number one pick, bring the whole league down. Ain't talking tank, we've been teaching the youth. Kessler's a wall, Keontae the truth. But every symphony needs that spark to ignite. Flag with the brush stroke, paint the future bright. From Maine to the range, now we touching the sky. Coach Will got the vision, let the tempo fly. He a mismatch, slick pass, break glass, bang. Next Stockton to Malone, nah, he do his own. Flag day, calling it a crusade. Jazz notes rising like a church on parade. Draft night prayers, let the ping pong fall. Coop in a jersey, now we ballin' for all. So we manifesting blessings, no cap in the booth. From the Delta to the peaks, yeah, we chasing truth. Flag's the flame, Utah's the fuse. Let the league take notice, we refuse to lose. Manifesting blessings, no cap in the booth. From the Delta to the peaks, yeah, we chasing truth. Flag's the flame, Utah's the fuse. Let the league take notice, we refuse to lose.
Thank you very much to everybody for putting that together. I got bored, did a little AI. Kendrick Lamar, write a song in the voice of Kendrick Lamar for this, and those guys put it together. It is Lottery Day. It is Flag Day. It is hopefully the day where the Utah Jazz franchise is altered. 14% chance for tonight's lottery, and hopefully not the 48% chance for the fourth pick. So if you know, here's how it works. The Jazz have a 14% chance for basically the first and second picks of the draft. As it continues, they have 14% chance to get the first, and then it kind of moves on equally as much and gets them to a 48% chance for the fifth pick. We have a 52% chance of one of the top four picks, equally kind of distributed for all basic measures. Like, I can give you the exact odds, but frankly, that gives you kind of enough that you need to know. So that is where we sit tonight, 5 o'clock. I will be live on I don't know if we're doing it live, but we're doing an NBA Locked On NBA squad show. I will also be on Channel 2, so we'll be doing all that. Getting ready for this, I watched Cooper Flagg yesterday. He's great. It's all real. There's nothing you watch him and think to yourself it's not real. right? The national championship game, the shots came up short, probably strength, probably fatigue, probably age. He is a 6'9" primary ball handler. He's comfortable going right or left in the pick and roll. He's got space. If he gets space, he can beat you. He can play off the bounce with power. He can work himself into the shot. His footwork is impeccable. His vision is fabulous. He sees the game before it's happening. He plays the game in an unselfish, correct way. First time I ever watched him, which was probably in November this year, the first thing that jumped out to me was his willingness to set picks, his willingness to do everything for his teammates. He plays to contact at 18 years old. The timing of his passes is impeccable. His vision before the play happens is fabulous. His footwork for a young kid is elite. His body balance is incredible. His lift is fabulous. And his understanding of the game is elite for someone of that age and that position. It's all real. That was my assessment. I watched 3 different Duke games yesterday and last night, waiting to see if I could find something and somewhere. Sure. I wish maybe a shot or two had gone in more. I guess he's pretty good. I do think he comes up short on an unusually high percentage of his misses, which to me is a strength issue. In the national championship game, his shots, those were all of them. They all came up short. If you look at his draft numbers, as we did earlier, there's nothing in there that says anything to you other than he's terrific. And I frankly hope that starting tomorrow, we're watching a Cooper Flagg game every day and breaking it down. That's the plan. We get Cooper Flagg with the number 1 pick. I'm going to give a breakdown of one of his games in every second segment the rest of the way until draft night. And we'll just keep talking about him. He's in the 85th percentile in transition because he's elite athletically. His ISO game is only mediocre because of exactly what I just said. For a kid who did not run a lot of pick and roll before Duke, he ran 129 pick and rolls last year. He's in the 91st percentile. The only guys that are better are Jace Richardson out of Michigan State, ran 81 in the 95th percentile. Neat Clifford ran 139. He's in the 95th percentile. But of the first-round prospects, he's the best there is. He actually set the pick 36 times and was the roll man. His spot-up percentile is in the 76th percentile. It's great. His catch and shoots in the 71 percentile. It's fine. His off-the-bounce dribbles in the 59th percentile. There's not a red flag anywhere for Cooper Flagg. He is a 6'9" primary ball handler that plays the game perfectly. He actually has, to me, a lot of magic to him. His game, without the fast break flair, reminds me of Magic's half-court game a lot, except for the fact that he has an off-the-bounce 3 that Magic never had when he came into the game. He's that great. There's nothing about it that's not real. Sit there and pray with all of it. I mean, the real question today is whether the Pope can get the Bulls to pick or what. No, okay. It might be a matchup of religious leaders. Who's got the power to dictate the lottery? Right? Now that we have an American Pope who's a Bulls fan, can the Catholic Church outdo the LDS Church, which outdoes, I don't know, whatever leader somewhere else that, I don't know who else has got what other affiliation, but I'm all in if somehow someone can alter it. We'll take him. He's just that great. Cooper Flagg, it's all real. The timing of his passes, his willingness to play to contact, his willingness to go either direction. Seemed like in a bunch of games, people are trying to force him left to no real avail. His ability to kind of bring it back right just to get some more space to go back left. He does the right thing every time. So it's real. There was nothing that I saw that made me think, nah, maybe not, nothing else. The fact that it was even a minor discussion at any point, if there was this season, is asinine. He's that great. I do think he'll learn to struggle in the NBA, but at 6'9", with that build and that strength, he'll get it faster than most. VJ Edgecomb has been bounced around as a 3, 4, 5 prospect, depending on the lottery. We might have a zeroing on the Baylor 6'4" guard, and we'll look at him next on Locked On Jazz. Monday edition of Locked On Jazz is brought to you by Murdoch Chevy, located in Woods Cross, also in Logan. Chevy lineup of trucks, the Colorado and the Silverado, unprecedented. The SUV lineup improves by the day. You've got the Utah County assault vehicles with the Suburban and the Tahoe, all the way to the Equinox and the Trax with the Blazer and the Trailblazer leading it off. And of course, you've got the Volt as well. Plus, you've got the Murdoch's commitment to making sure you have a no regrets experience. Over 80 years in Utah as part of our community, making sure that your experience buying a car is absolutely fabulous. So email me at dlock09@gmail.com. That's dlock09@gmail.com to make sure that you get your Murdoch Chevy VIP experience that you deserve at Murdoch Chevy. Today's show is also brought to you by DoorDash. NBA fans, you know what time it is. It's playoff season, and that means big performances and even bigger rewards. DoorDash is bringing the heat with Slam Dunk Deal with Dash Pass members during the 2025 NBA playoffs. It's called They Swoosh, You Score. Anytime a player drops 50 or more in a playoff game, Dash Pass members score a free 3-piece crispy tenders combo from Wingstop the very next day. Just place an order of $20 or more and use the Wingstop50 code at checkout, and that combo is yours. Crispy, delicious, and totally free. Offer valid noon to midnight the day after games, and terms do apply. So here's the plan. Sign up for Dash Pass to unlock this and more exclusive deals all season long. When any player scores 50+ in a playoff game, Dash Pass members can grab a free 3-piece crispy tenders combo from Wingspot the next day with a $20 order and a code Wingstop50. That's Dash Pass. Your door to more savings, more flavor, and more ways to win. Terms do apply. Thanks so much for making Locked On Jazz your first listen of the day. To the everydayers, you're the best. You guys really want to hear Flag Day again, don't you? I can feel it. You've got the rhythm in you. Flag Day. It's a beat. It's got a hook. You're in. You want to hear it? You'll hear it again. We'll play it before it's over. All right. VJ Edgecomb. So we're kind of at the, probably, if you're listening to this show and you're a diehard, you may know who he is. That's fine if you don't. We're kind of at the point now where I probably need to tell you a little bit about each of these players. VJ Edgecomb is a 6'4" guard who played at Baylor last year. Physically, he's really cut and strong. But he still kind of almost looks baby-faced, which is really interesting about him. He has got a step and an explosion. He originally came from the Bahamas. He was raised by his mom, who's an American-born track athlete, who actually works as a TSA agent in the Bahamas. He moved to the United States at 14 years old. Went to something called the Victory International Institute in West Palm Beach before going to Lutheran in Brookville, which is kind of a well-known place. He was the New York Gatorade Player of the Year. That's his dad played for the Bahamas national team, but he was primarily raised by his mom. So that's a little bit of the story on VJ Edgecomb. We looked at his numbers earlier, and as is the case in this draft, very few players came up numbers-wise problematically. 65th percentile in transition, 40th percentile in isolation, very few ISOs. That jumps out a little bit as you watch him. He only ran 25 ISOs. He did run the pick and roll 109 times for the 43rd percentile, which is not great. Certainly not Cooper's 91. But it's not different than Ace Bailey's 43, though Ace Bailey's 6, whatever he's going to be, 6'8", 6'9", 6'10". His shooting's in the 66th percentile, spot up. His catch and shoots in the 65th percentile. And his off-the-bounce shooting was the only thing that's really disturbing. He's 13 of 52 in the 21st percentile. So that's a little bit of a red flag right there. So those were the numbers coming in on Edgecomb. Watching him, there's an interesting aspect to him so the first game I watched him was against Duke. And Duke in the NCAA tournament, second round game. And Duke's really good defensively. And so you're kind of waiting for him to make an impact. And then And he's not really making that big an impact, and you're kind of getting concerned. And it's also, you're wondering, like, well, how much of this is that Duke's defense is that good? And then all of a sudden, he drove to the basket, and like your eyes pop out of your head. The quick acceleration, the explosion, and the lift. You're like, oh. And there is something to this, that when you're watching a game and you're watching college players who are not as good as pro players, you need to have a moment where it's like abundantly clear which player is going to be the NBA player. And that, like, it was abundantly obvious that there's, like, inside of this, there's a whole nother skill level. He's a little loose on the pick and roll. He does seem to prefer to drive left-handed than right-handed. Nothing wrong with that. He has what I said earlier, he has a baby body, but he's strong. Right? So he's all cut, but he just still looks like he's got a baby body. He moves beautifully. Does a lot of nice things. So his shot has a really high release. Looks to me to have, and I'm not a shot doctor, he looks to have a good motion and a nice base. You begin to wonder, like, if he could play in space and play with pace, what might he be able to do? Boy, Baylor did none of that. In the game against Arizona, there's just not a lot of open court stuff. They got some injuries Baylor did last year, so they're playing 4 guards, so they're playing a lot of, like, outside kind of handoff, weaving, not going downhill game. I did not think he loved contact. I always want to see if someone owns his space. I wasn't convinced that VJ Edgecomb was interested in contact. He's kind of in and around rebounds, but he's not really going to get the rebounds. He's like there because he's supposed to be, but he's not really putting up a lot of, like, he's not pushing guys out of the way. He's not getting in physically to make the play. It's just kind of like he's there like he's supposed to be, but he's not, maybe, if it comes to him, that's fine. His defense was bad. Reminded you of maybe some other former Baylor players' defense. Very little resistance. Cooper overpowered him, which I think you kind of would go to expect. But then there were some other plays where their right overpowered him, who's now going to be at BYU. That kid was good. He did not pass a lot, but he was pretty good. That kid who's going to be at BYU was good, or at least collegiately very, like, impactful. I was a little, like, he made a mistake on the zone that allowed Cooper Flagg to get behind him for a dunk. So I thought defensively he was probably, of the Ace Bailey, Dylan Harper, Cooper Flagg, Trey Johnsons that I've watched, I thought he probably was the worst defender of the 5 that I've seen so far. And then he did show willingness from an offensive contact standpoint to lower his shoulder on a left-hand drive, put the right shoulder into someone going to the basket, and make the contact. First drive I saw from him was a right wing drive coming across left hand, across the middle of the lane, fading away from the contact, and he made the shot. But it wasn't like a great script to be. Then he came around a left-hand drive, more downhill, coming toward the basket. And in this case, he did lower the shoulder into the guy, into the basket, to be able to put it up and in. I get why he's a top 5 pick. The body's pretty cool at that side. Leaf Tulane gave me his big board. He has him at 5. So Leaf Tulane has Cooper, who does a lot of work for Locked On College Basketball and Locked On NBA Big Board, and Locked On Jazz. Cooper Flagg, Dylan Harper, Ace Bailey, Trey Johnson, VJ Edgecomb are his top 5 as we head into the lottery. That those are we've now watched all 5 of those players here on Locked On Jazz going into lottery day, which was the design. Some of this doesn't actually always happen by accident. So I liked Edgecomb. He didn't honestly, I start watching Edgecomb on the same day I'm watching Cooper Flagg, right? So I watch a bunch of Cooper Flagg, and then I watch Baylor, Duke, and then I go to Baylor, Arizona, and then I'm watching Baylor. Like, it's hard to watch Cooper Flagg and then watch VJ Edgecomb. They're like different, on a different planet. But this kid's interesting, right? So, You have a 6'4", really good body. I think everything about his shot looks fine to me. The high release, I assume he'll be able to stretch that out to 3-point range. But again, I'm not a shot doctor. I'd be interested to talk to Chris Jones or Mike Williams or some of the guys on our staff who work on shots all the time. I was the first really big of the 4 or 5 guys I've watched, like Ace Bailey's handle's a little loose. Edgecomb's defense on Foster on a play was terrible, no resistance. There's another play in terrible, missed the zone. So some of that stuff wasn't great. He's also 19, so you give him a little bit of but I would have liked to see a little bit more resistance defensively. But frankly, that quick acceleration, that burst, when he gets some space and he gets some pace, the NBA game should yield him some pretty incredible moments. And there aren't a lot of guys with that level of athleticism and that level of skill that don't have success. If you really truthfully, that's a comfortable draft pick. That's a comfortable draft pick. I don't know if he's a franchise piece. I mean, the thing about Cooper Flagg is you draft Cooper Flagg, and let's say you let Cooper Flagg develop, you don't win a lot of games next year, and you're back in the top of the lottery. You're not restricted in any pick you would make because Cooper Flagg can play any position but center regularly. At 6'9", primary ball handler, he can do all of it, so you could draft anywhere around him. Dylan Harper is really going to be your primary ball handler. VJ Edgecomb, though he did play a little bit with the ball, is your primary 2-guard, and maybe a tiny bit undersized for 2-guard. But I don't think he's your primary ball handler. So there's a little bit, there's a little less flexibility, and I'm not sure he's like your cornerstone piece that gives you the direction where your franchise is going. All right, late game watch. Oklahoma City, Minnesota had a bunch of really interesting. Oklahoma City, Denver had a bunch of really interesting things. We'll look at Minnesota, Golden State for a second as well. And we'll play our last NBA simulated draft lottery because the real one is at 5 tonight. Flag day. Next on Locked On Jazz. Today's edition of Locked On Jazz is brought to you by Monarch Money. Have you looked at your bank account and said, wait, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, entertainment, lots of skiing, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility, control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, spending in one place so you can just stop worrying and actually follow and manage your money and start building wealth. Gives you surprising insights when you realize how much you're spending on various aspects of your life. Allows you to budget smarter and save more. Instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch to check your finances, track spending, even plan long-term goals. Easy collaboration if you're working with your partner as well. You can share, track personal accounts, and set goals. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com for $50 off your first year. Give yourself a little peace of mind. Get it done with monarchmoney.com. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA for half off your first year. Today's show is also brought to you by Hungry. Everyone in my house always has something going on, and we call it the busy season when the kids were around. Now it's just my wife and I bouncing around. So either the case of some houses, there's so many people going on, you don't have time to go to the grocery store, do all this, but you want to cook healthy. Or in the case of us, there's just less people around. Let's make it easier. That's why I use Hungry Root. Hungry Root is like having your own personal shopper and nutritionist wrapped into one. So you take care of the grocery shopping and meal planning. They take care of the grocery shopping and meal planning. They offer personalized recommendations based on your taste and health goals. So they tailor your orders based on what you've liked or didn't like in the past, and it gets smarter every time. High quality, nutritious food. You can stick to your gut-friendly, high-protein diet without spending hours planning. The meals come together in 15 minutes or less, giving you more time for whatever else you want to do. Take advantage of this exclusive deal. Get 40% off your first box plus a free item in every box for life. Go to hungryroot.com/LockedOnNBA. Use the code LockedOnNBA. That's hungryroot.com/LockedOnNBA. Use the code LockedOnNBA for 40% off a lifetime free item at Hungry Root. Flag day, flag day. We'll get it for you. But right now, for one last, final time, it is time for us to lottery. Okay, I think we have this thing. Things for you to watch tonight. 5 o'clock our time, Mountain Time. The first one to watch is obviously as many of these teams that can play in order as they are. That's good. The second thing you want is it, or you don't want Oklahoma City. God, I hate them. Just root so hard against them. Come on, Denver. Philadelphia's pick is protected 1 through 6. If two people, Philadelphia's currently at 5. If two people below Philadelphia jump into the top 4, Oklahoma City gets the pick. So that's the secondary thing to watch. The first thing, as many teams that can fall into their rightful spot every time slightly increases the Jazz odds to end up with the first pick or to end up with one of the top 4 picks. And you just don't want San Antonio, who has 14-8, to vault up there, and you don't want Oklahoma City to vault up there. Those are the things while watching. Here we go. First pick we want to have be San Antonio. It is. Second one you want to be Atlanta. It is. Next you want it to be Chicago. It is. How about Dallas at 11, please? It is. How about Portland at 10? This would be going perfectly. Great. Now Houston at 9. Philadelphia is going to breathe a sigh of relief, but no. Houston has jumped up into the top. Then Brooklyn. Toronto has jumped. Oklahoma City will get the 7th pick. The nightmare for Philadelphia happens. The Jazz try to avoid number 5, and they go to 5. The worst case scenario happens. New Orleans at 4. Raptors at 3. Wizards at 2. And the Houston Rockets get the number 1 pick of the NBA draft with Cooper Flagg to go with their already loaded team. Oh my gosh, that's a disaster for us too. And the Phoenix Suns, who made that deal, we have to go back and look at what that deal is. What a mess. And we would end up with 5. That is, well, what do we think? We'd far rather have our luck play out in real life than on this silly show. All right, few notes from last night. Oklahoma City, Denver. So let's talk about the Jamal Murray, Nikola Jokic pick and roll, which is the best 2-man game in the NBA. It's really interesting to watch what they're doing. So they're guarding with Caruso and Hartenstein, both of which they acquired in the offseason. 2, Dort's not playing to close games. So the first thing they're doing, they played it about 3 different ways. So once they played it just regular drop, and Murray got all the way to the rim. So then the next time Oklahoma City played it, Hartenstein stayed on Murray on the pick and roll, and so did Caruso. So they're doubling Murray to cut off his drive. They kick back to Jokic, who's not really wanting to shoot the 3 right now. And then they bring Jalen Williams off the side as the third guy, which is going to leave Michael Porter Jr. open. Then the next time, they switched it. So in the final 5 minutes, within 3 different possessions, Oklahoma City guarded the Jokic-Murray pick and roll in 3 different ways. And Dagnall's just doing an incredible job of making those guys think. They're great. They've done it a million times. They're the best 2-man game in the league, but they're making them think. Dagnall wins games on the edges as a head coach. That's his whole signature. They win games on the edges, and he got one on the edges when he came out of a timeout, and he suddenly trapped out of nowhere, and Denver didn't get the ball in bounds. He really got him on that one. Might have been a little bit of an inexperienced head coach on the other side, and David Adelman. But it's really interesting to watch how they're playing that. And then they're sneaking those. Then Denver's playing a lot of zone. One of the problems in the last game when we talked about late game watch with Oklahoma City is they had just no spacing between Holmgren not being a great shooter and Hartenstein not being a great shooter and Caruso not being a great shooter and Dort not being a great shooter. And they were playing combinations of them. And I was texting with guys like, they just can't do this, can they? Well, against the zone, what they then did is took either Caruso or Hartenstein into the middle of the floor, setting a pick in the middle of the floor. So then their lack of spacing doesn't matter. And on probably the biggest play of the game, it was pretty interesting what they did. They went and took, I almost want to see if I can show this to you. It's very fundamental and basic. But they went and took Isaiah Hartenstein and had him set a pick on the outside of the pick and roll, which forces Jokic in the middle of the zone or in the middle of the let's see if I can find this for you. Let's see, here we go. This is actually really interesting. So let me see if I can get this for you. Okay, I think we have it. They're going to come up against the zone here. And Hartenstein is going to set up. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has it. And Hartenstein sets a pick. It's a 2-3 zone. And on the top of the 2, Hartenstein sets a pick on the outside of the zone. It forces Jokic to slide over as though he's like in drop in the middle of the zone in case Shai Gilgeous-Alexander goes to the right side. So Hartenstein, there's a 2-3 zone. And if you think of the outside of the left top guy, they're setting a pick on the outside. So it's forced. The drive's going to go to the sideline side on the right side. So Jokic has to slide over that way to protect that, or it's a straight line. Instead, Shai goes the other way, bringing the second guy on the top, who's on the right side, Christian Brown, in a little bit. And Jokic is now shifted all the way over to the left. And just a quick pass to Williams. And Williams can break in a line with an aggressive drive and finishes it. It's very subtle. It's very small little spacing, but it's a great adjustment. And it actually was a good enough adjustment that it busted Denver out of the zone. And then Shai spun Jokic around on the high pick and roll on the next play where he was playing drop. So that's pretty interesting. I have a bunch of other notes on that, but like that's the little game within the game that's taking place there. Denver, Minnesota. I actually just thought, Golden State, Minnesota. Draymond fouls out. Rudy makes a bunch of incredible plays. Offensive rebound. Great play on a defensive play to stop Butler at the rim. They'd sent a back screen on him. He got off it. McDaniels hits a 3. Minnesota's not doing anything creative. They're just playing Edwards, very high pick and roll, ISO. And my actual thought was that Golden State, without Draymond in the game, has Jonathan Kuminga and Buddy Hield handling, and they both make some nice plays, but they also just make some terrible plays because they're not used to it. I just got the wrong guys with the ball. So that's it. All right, big day today. I leave you with one more edition of Flag Day.
Make the beat go hard like Kendrick's not like us. Yeah, I'm writing from the land where the mountains rise. Salt Lake dreams in the fans' wide eyes. Been grinding through the snow, no disguise. Now we staring at the sky, praying lottery aligns. Monday night, fate's about to speak. Give me that one spot, make this rebuild sleek. Cooper Flagg prodigy, cold technique. White and gold jersey, future looking elite. Flag day, light it up like it's Broadway. Change the course of the franchise, my way or Yahweh. Jazz got soul, now we need that crown. #1 pick, bring the whole league down. Ain't talking tank, we've been teaching the youth. Kessler's a wall, Keontae the truth. But every symphony needs that spark to ignite. Flag with the brush stroke, paint the future bright. From Maine to the range, now we touching the sky. Coach Will got the vision, let the tempo fly. He a mismatch, slick pass, break glass, bang. Next Stockton to Malone, nah, he do his own. Flag day, calling it a crusade. Jazz notes rising like a church on parade. Draft night prayers, let the ping pong fall. Coop in a jersey, now we ballin' for all. So we manifesting blessings, no cap in the booth. From the Delta to the peaks, yeah, we chasing truth. Flags the flame, Utah's the fuse. Let the league take notice, we refuse to lose. Manifesting blessings, no cap in the booth. From the Delta to the peaks, yeah, we chasing truth. Flags the flame, Utah's the fuse. Let the league take notice, we refuse to lose.
Sending you the first ever 24/7 national NBA channel, Locked On NBA. Join me live, Locked On NBA, later today. See you.